Welcome to the Biz Breaks Podcast, where we have real talk with real entrepreneurs. I am your co-host, Kevin the Credit Crusher, along with
Nykeia Neal, your personal finance expert.
And today we are talking to Terry Robertson, one of our good friends, connection we've had for quite some time. Terry, I'm going to give him their bio. I'm going to give him the bio because that's what we do, but I got to put my glasses on to get there. So as a native, and here's the deal, I don't have to do this. I don't have to read this because I can say this from memory, but I'm going to read it because I don't want to disrespect you and dismiss any of the things that you've accomplished. So as a native of Philadelphia, PA, Terry Robertson understood the value of money and the opportunity that it could provide. After completing his undergraduate degree and master's degree in psychology, he used his degrees to begin his financial journey to help others understand the psychology behind money and ways to improve spending habits that have been passed down for generations. Now a vice president, I'm gonna slow that down. Now a vice president, Terry spends his days working with all people to educate, promote, and empower financial awareness. So welcome to our special guest, Terry Robertson. We appreciate you being here, good man.
I appreciate you
being here. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the Biz Breaks Podcast, let me just remind our audience that the Biz Breaks Podcast, where we have real talk with real entrepreneurs, happens every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms. Facebook, we're at Premisien. YouTube, we're at Premisien. Instagram, we're at Premisien. We're streaming live on all of our Facebook. And you can see us live on the Cosmos Radio Network USA. Thanks to our technology partners, the Cosmo Radio Network USA. Thank you for Showtime, the Hype Man, for allowing us to be on this platform. Thank you for showing out in London. We are streaming live in the United Kingdom. We are streaming live here in the United States, across the country. Thousands and thousands of viewers. So we welcome our audience, we welcome our guests, and we welcome the host. Biz Breaks Podcast, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go. All right. So Nykeia Neal, welcome back. We had a great show last Thursday. I thought it was a great show.
I thought it was great too. You know, people watch it, give me some good feedback. So I'm happy to be back co-hosting with you.
All right. And what's really cool is I'm in studio, but our guests and our co-hosts are coming to you remotely. We are observing some COVID restrictions or some COVID regulations, and so we are socially conscious here at the Biz Breaks Podcast on the Cosmos Radio Network USA, and so this is probably the platform or how we do the format from this point on. So Terry Robertson.
Yes, sir.
Finance expert, the money man.
Finance king. Huh? He's been coined the finance king.
The finance king.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
And I understand heavy is the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right?
True.
So Terry, tell us a little bit about you and how you got to this point.
Well, first of all, man, I'd be remiss without saying thank you for allowing me to be on your platform, man. I don't take it lightly when I get a chance to hang out with people for some time. So, thank you, Kevin and Nykeia as well, man. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. For entrepreneurs, I think it's so important that we connect with entrepreneurs and make sure that they understand what they're getting themselves into, right? And that it's not an overnight success unless you count 10 years of overnight success, right? So, but how I got into this business, honestly, is that I have an undergraduate in business management. I have a master's in clinical psychology. And hands down, I love working with kids. I love giving back to the community. I love doing right by people. So I was a helper naturally, right? However, one of the things that I realized when I started working with kids, and I was working with kids for over 10 years, I realized that a lot of times the problem isn't the children. Sometimes it's the parents, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the way the parents were raised, whatever they had, whatever they didn't have, things of that nature. And I started to realize that we got to do some work with our parents, right? And so we started doing work with the parents, and what we realized is that the parents were struggling in a lot of areas, whether it be relationships, whether it be, just skills. But what I learned is that they were really struggling with money. Okay, they were really struggling with money. They were really struggling with how money works and all of that stuff, And so what I realized is that I had to make a decision. How could I be more impactful, right? Can I be I felt like I was pretty impactful working with children, but I felt like if I got into finance, I would be more impactful. And plus, I don't know if there's anybody on this call or anybody that's listening in, if you've ever felt like, what you were doing just wasn't enough. Like you just felt like you were doing it and you were good at it, but it just wasn't enough. And I also felt like that's what it was for me. And so I got into finance part-time, honestly, as just a hobby and as something to do. I felt like, if I develop a new skill set, I could be more, relevant to people in the community. And I started to love it, man. I started to realize that the majority of divorce rates, the reason why people get divorced is because of money, right? Budgeting is an issue. We don't know how money works. We don't know how that stuff works. And so for me to do that, I started to see that. And then, quite frankly, I'm just be honest with you, since we're talking about entrepreneurship, right? I did not like having a boss. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be my own business owner. I wanted to be my own boss. And I felt like this was the best opportunity to get involved in it. And so it took me about 2 years to quit my job and to go full time and be 100% immersed into financial services. And from that point on, I went from, being my only agent to now having 80 licensed agents in my organization. And, we'll probably be moving within the next 24 months to about 1,000 agents. And we'll probably be looked at as one of the biggest, financial organizations in Philly and in the Eastern area. So I'm excited about what we got going on.
And I'm excited with you. Yeah. So Terry, you talked about parents and the issue being with the parents.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your childhood and the conversations that you had or did not have about money?
Yeah, that's a simple conversation. You ready?
Yeah.
I didn't have any conversations about money. I would listen because we're being real today, right? On this.
This is real talk. Sorry, this is real talk. And like I said, before you go any further in that, so this Biz Breaks podcast is not just about what the person is doing, but where the person came from, which is how they got to do what they're doing. So right. Talk. We keep it a stack. That's what we say, right? And keep it a stack.
Say no more. But this is how I see it. Nobody talked about money. Nobody spoke about any form of money. I think the most I heard about money was what I couldn't have because it cost too much. Nobody really talked about money. It was like, oh, that's too expensive. Oh, you don't need that. You don't deserve that. Or, money doesn't grow on trees, right? These sayings.
Stay out of grown folks' business.
Stay out of grown folks' business, right? Don't look at nothing. Don't touch nothing. You don't ask for nothing because you ain't gonna get nothing, right? It was just these phrases that you heard all the time when you went into stores and things of that nature. And so for me, I didn't learn anything about money. And then when I got to college, even worse, because I didn't learn anything about money, when I got to college, what was attractive was free money, i.e. credit cards. So I thought, right? So I thought, and I know you got a whole issue with that, right? But, I thought that credit cards was free money. They was giving me a credit card with a T-shirt. This is great.
Exactly. Or a calling card.
Right? So you didn't know, you weren't really educated about how money works. And so for me, it was like I was really behind the eight ball, if you will. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have a lot of people in my school. I went to a pretty bougie school, if you will, and a lot of people had, the newest this, the newest that. And, I was like, dang, how does that family have all of that? But on the flip side of it, right, they could have been just trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? They might not have had anything, but spent all their money on surface things like, shoes and sneakers and boots and jackets and hats. And so things of that nature, I just really felt like I was in a position where I didn't know anything. And it wasn't until I got to college and I saw people's habits were different than mine. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one of the number one things that we really look at success as an entrepreneur, or just in finance or in money or in anything. I think habits are super important. Habits, when I mentor people nowadays, one of the number one things I talk about is your habits. Mm-hmm. What do you do on a regular basis? Is what you're doing connected to where you want to be? And that's key, because I think most people, whatever they do daily is typically what grows. You heard the saying, whatever you focus on grows, right? So whatever you do daily is part of what grows. And if you're not focusing on your business daily, your business ain't going to grow. If you don't focus on your skill sets, your business isn't going to grow. If you're not focusing on ascertaining or acquiring more assets or more money, your business isn't going to grow. So we got to look at those things.
Good stuff.
Nykeia, don't think I missed that you said calling card. We're dating ourselves. We talk about calling cards.
Listen, I don't care, because this good black don't crack. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So you know what? I do have a follow-up question. So you went to Kutztown and you played football. Yep. So because I hear you talk about that, sometimes, how did that background of playing football and being good at that, how did you take like that skill and kind of use it to help you, with your business? Like, how did that skill set, because you just talked about skills, so how did that, translate into you in your business?
Yeah, well, first of all, I got to shout out KU, Kutztown University, right? Because they still rocking and rolling. They went very deep into the playoffs this year. But what's so crazy?
Kutztown, we're accepting sponsorships.
Right. So, but what's so crazy about what you just said about like your background? I think it played a big role. It taught me not to quit. It taught me to fight through adversity. I personally, so I'm a 100% wholehearted believer that children, and I'm just being generally speaking, right? I'm just saying I believe that children really benefit from sports. I think that extracurricular activities. I think children really benefit from it because they're not easy. There's something that you need to learn a new skill set, right? And learning new skill sets require discipline. Learning new skill sets require consistency, right? Learning new skill sets require you not necessarily getting the result that you want initially, but all of a sudden, when you keep doing it, you get better and better and better at it. I think it just hands down gives you a lot of life lessons that you can pull from when you become an adult. And so, I just think that, people that played sports sometimes are just tougher, because they've been through adversity. They've been through more, and I know, people say, well, Terry, it's a sport. It's not real life. Well, like I said, a lot of the things that you learn in sports, you can use for life. Like, for example, I've lost a game before, right? So I know how it feels to lose. I don't like losing, but I also know that when you keep working, you get better and then you win.
Yeah.
So, those are some of the things in life that if you lost, and let's just say you didn't close a deal, well, how about you assess why you didn't close the deal? Mm-hmm. Or you assess why you struggled in that deal and do a better job. So when you get in front of somebody else, when you get another opportunity, when you get in a new game, right, you know how to win the game. So I think that, playing sports was an integral role in my success just because it was natural to understand that failure is a part of winning.
Awesome. Great question. Let me take a time out to acknowledge our sponsors. Premisien Credit Counseling, your credit counseling experts. Are you trying to get credit that is attached to your business and not your social security number, not a personal guarantee? Contact Premisien Credit Counseling, your credit counseling experts. We can help you establish and build business credit that is not attached to your social security number. Call us at 215-904-8690. You can reach us on the web at www.premisien.com. That's Premisien. And you can reach us via email at info@premisien.com. Awesome. So, Terry, we want to turn to one of our segments where we give a tip about our expertise, and each one of us is going to do so. So, Terry, can you give us a finance tip, something that would help an individual or a group of individuals be better prepared to have conversations about finance or to move their finances into a direction that's positive for them?
Absolutely. So the first thing there's two things that came to my head. The first thing is that, and I'll do it in question form, and I'll ask you guys simple questions, right? So like, it's like, let me ask you a question, Kevin. Are you a mechanic currently? Are you a mechanic?
Not of cause, but of credit, yes, but not of cause.
Not of cause, right? So theoretically, if I said you had a problem with your car, like your check engine light came on, right? Would you try to fix it yourself, or would you go to a mechanic?
Oh no, I trade money for time. I gotta take it to the mechanic.
You learned that a long time ago, right? So here's what I'm saying. But the main reason is probably, you want to trade money for time, right? Because you know that is a better value of time because you can't get time back, right? But also, I think we can agree that you would be very uncomfortable trying to fix a car and then getting in that car from a safety perspective, right? So you wouldn't want to try to fix your car and pray that you did a good job on it because that's not your profession, right? So the first thing I try to tell people is that, so why is it that if you want to get your car fixed, you go to a mechanic? Why is it in the new year, in 2022, everybody was in the gym, they hired coaches, they hired fitness instructors, they went to classes, they did all of that stuff because they wanted to improve in their physical fitness, right? So what do? They reached out to professionals. So my question to most people is, why do you reach out to all these professionals when you need help in those areas, but you don't reach out to a finance professional when you realize you're struggling with money? And so the first thing I would say is seek out a professional. Seek out a licensed professional in your area. There's a lot of people that do it for pleasure, do it for fun, but they don't know what they're doing. You got to consult with people that have licenses, and so that's the first thing I would encourage people to do. And then, just from a quick budgeting tip, I used to always, I like to say, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. And so what I mean by that is, so for example, we're in a culture where we like, especially our community, right? Because we're, like I said, we're in our community. We're touching our community a lot. I remember when, what is it, the PPP loan, PUV, PSYP, all those loans, when those loans came out, I saw everybody at Saks. I saw everybody at Gucci. I saw the lines filled up at King of Prussia Mall, right? Because they never really had that type of money before. But what I realized is that you got to understand that in order to have a plan for emergencies, savings, short-term savings, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. So if you can buy it, great. But do you have the same amount? Can you dump the same amount of money in an investment vehicle? Can you invest the same amount of money in a savings account of some sort? And if you can't, then I don't think you should do it once. I don't think you should risk it. So that's a tip that I give a lot of people.
I'm typing this up in the comments section of this live show. That's great.
I see that.
Professional. And if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. That's good stuff right there. Yeah. That's good stuff right there. Nykeia Neal, nice, as I call you.
Yeah. Oh, I get to do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So you can't buy it once. What is it? You can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. All right, got it. So I can't use that tip. I don't have that anyway. That's not my arsenal. So I would say, last week when we was on the show, I talked about you want to start with a budget, right? Just because you have to track your money. And I talked about saving at least 10%, like paying yourself first. So just kind of going from after that point, and like what Terry just mentioned, you want to seek out professionals, which is important too. Somebody, you can't just say like my Uncle Bubba, he did X, Y, and Z. It has to be somebody who has more experience. Not saying that you can't take what Uncle Bubba taught you, but you can take it and go beyond that point, right? So my tip would be to meet with me. So if you have any kind of issues that you need help with, financially speaking, start with me. I got you. I can help you. Okay. It doesn't charge. I don't charge for you to sit down and have a conversation with me. But one of the things that people think that they need to do first before they reach out to a professional is I have to have all my ducks lined up in a row. Well, if you had all your ducks lined up in a row, you probably don't need to seek out help from anybody, right? So you don't have to wait until you have everything perfect in order for you to go out and ask somebody for help. So if you are looking for someone and you'd like to get some help, I can be reached at 267-257-3274, or you can email me at nykeianeal@gmail.com. Yes, that is how you reach me. So that is my tip for the day, Kev.
That's a good tip and a good plug. Never shameless. Never shameless here on the Biz Breaks Podcast.
Every time I do a plug, that's my move.
All right. So I'm gonna give a tip, a little bit of an explanation about something in credit, and that's credit card APRs. So a lot of times people have difficulty understanding how an APR works. We know what they are. APR stands for annual percentage rate, and most people use it to compare the cards they're gonna get. They want a card with the lowest annual percentage rate. But what they may not understand is how those annual percentage rates affect your balances. So if you have an annual percentage rate, and I'm going to just do something, I'm going to do an easy explanation of an annual percentage rate. So let's say your APR is 12%. That means they're going to take the 12% and divide it by 12, so you'll get your monthly APR, which means 1% per month. But actually, let's go even further. They're really going to take your annual percentage rate divided by 365, and that will give you your daily percentage rate. And then if you want to know how much interest you're going to pay this month, you can actually calculate that yourself. If you take your daily percentage rate, so again, you're going to take your annual percentage rate divided by 365, which is the amount of days in a year. You're going to then take that amount and multiply it by the days in the cycle. So you're going to have to find out from your credit card or from your credit card company or your loan company how many days are in their cycle. Most of them have 25 days. So you're going to multiply that daily percentage rate times the days in the cycle, and then multiply that number by the outstanding balance. For example, let's say your daily percentage rate is let's say it's 0.0027%, or 0.0027 is what you're going to use to multiply, right? And there are 25 days. You're going to multiply 0.0027 by 25, and then multiply that. Let's say your outstanding balance is $2,000, and then you'll get what your interest on that particular month is going to be, which is about $15. I did all in my head.
Listen, I was following. I'm writing it down. I was like, carry 1 divided to 5. Yeah, I got 16. But
so yeah, I don't just talk this credit stuff. I get into this thing. I know this thing, right? So
listen, you had to put some real numbers for that to make sense, because as you was going, I started checking. Yeah. That's tough, Kev.
So I'm gonna say it one more time. Take the annual percentage rate, divide by the number of days in a year, which is 365. Multiply that number by the number of days in the company's cycle, the creditor's cycle, and then multiply that by your outstanding balance. And that'll tell you how much interest you're paying on that particular account.
Is that, and that's per cycle? That's what that number is, that $15, what you said is?
Well, no, that's not per cycle. That's just for that particular month. Because if next month you don't pay the bill, you will have a bill of $2,015. And when you multiply that number again, obviously that number is going to be higher. That $15 is going to go up by a few cents. Right?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
But you can calculate. So this is the thing, Terry, about APRs and people understanding how to calculate APRs, because there are variable rates, and a lot of times people are just paying those interest rates. They're just paying that money, and they have no idea why they're paying the amount that they're paying. Right. You can take control of, and I think you guys would both agree that you want to take control of your money as much as you possibly can. And the way to do that is, if you can do the calculations that the company is doing, you can find out whether they're doing it right or they're doing it wrong and trying to rip you off. Right?
Yep.
That's good. That's a good tip, Kev.
Takes a little work, but the investment in the beginning saves you hundreds, maybe thousands in the end.
Good stuff.
I like
and
it.
you have a calculator that helps you, so you don't have to do it in your head like Kevin did.
Yeah. but also, I think it's important because what I've noticed, Kevin, is that the people that actually pay attention to those types of things, they're not as susceptible to, the things that are happening in the world, whether it be, oh my gosh, these people rip me off for 6 months at a time. You're going to catch those type of things if you're actually asking the questions, why? Okay, how much is this rate? Why? Okay, if I spent this, why? Why do I need to use this card? Why should I use this card instead of that card? I think that sometimes, especially as men, we're not as focused on certain things, and so I think it's important to make sure that we, have a more focus on, have a higher focus, as you say, on the things that matter. And I know you speak on credit all the time, but credit is a big key. It matters, so we got to pay attention to those things.
Yeah, and I know you guys. So you stepped across the fence into my world. I'm gonna step into your world now. I know you guys both talk about compounding interest, so it works both ways, right? Not just the negative. If you are investing in something, which you guys promote heavily, I presume, right? Not I presume, I know, because I am a client. Right. If you're investing in something, knowing your return and how to calculate your return, and APRs work the exact same way when we're getting a return on your investment.
Yeah, well, I think that's another problem in our community, right? Because I think that when we hear interest rates, we think negative, right? Because of the life cycle that we've had, not knowing how credit works. We don't think interest rates in a positive. I sat with a lady one day and I said, guess what? You can get 9%, 12%. I've seen it happen where a lot of people have averaged pretty high rate of returns in their mutual funds or investments or other types of vehicles or whatever the case may be. And she said, no, I don't want that. I don't, that's a lot. That's high. And immediately I was like, she's thinking credit cards. She's thinking mortgages. She's thinking loans. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. I said, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. I said, when I said 9% rate of return, what are you thinking about? And she's like, you're charging me 9%. I said, no. I said, see, you're so used to thinking about how money works against you, how interest rates work against you. You're not thinking about how interest rates can work in your favor. And so I explained to her how compounding interest works and how you can make more off your money. And, I gave her examples about how the average bank has, give you about 0.32%, and when you really think about that, that's still money, versus what if I could put you in a plan that can get you 9%? What would that do for your money? And you have to show people illustrations so they can see it, right? So they can see, $500 a month invested in a Roth IRA at a 9% rate of return gives you close to, for a 30-year time frame, gives you close to $922,000.
Sure.
It's a big difference. If you use the same dollar value, right? Same dollar value, the premium or the principal is only $180,000, but when you think about it, it's only going to give you a couple of thousand.
Yeah.
It's roughly 7,000. So that's horrible. Go ahead.
It is. And I'll just add into that. We can't talk to people all the time in numbers. Like in our industry, we all about the numbers and everything, but people don't really get that. Because even when Kevin started talking, I had to write it down and bring the calculator out and okay, what does this really mean? So when we talk to people, we definitely have to talk to them in numbers. Like you said, have an illustration, make it real. This is going to save you X amount of dollars. This is going to give you X amount of dollars. Because then that's relatable. Now it's okay, this makes sense. This is something that I want to do. And that's again, going back to what we said earlier, why you do want to work with somebody that can do that for you. If you start talking to somebody that's going to start talking all this financial jargon, going over your head, making it sound good, then you probably need to run. You need to sit with somebody where it makes sense. Your dollars make sense. Oh, I think I'm about to coin that. Sit with somebody. Sit with Nykeia where your dollars make sense. Oh, don't try to.
Good one. But you know what's so funny? What you just said, to even add on to that, is that a lot of the problem is what you just said, right? I think that in finance, and this goes back to what we said, why people may not want to talk to people in financial services, because people try to make people feel stupid and talk over them. Because I think sometimes they want to feel empowered, they want to feel educated, they want to use all these big words. I personally believe that if I can't make it make sense to your second grader, then I don't deserve your business. The real deal is that it should be so simple that a second grader would understand it, that a third grader would understand it, right? And going back to what we just said about illustration and being very clear, like when I explained it, I said, the principle, meaning the money that you put into it is $180. If you put $500 a month, right, into an account for 12 months and then multiply that by 30 years, that's $180,000 that you're putting into an account. Okay? That's the principle. That's the money that you put in. So if you put in a bank and it made nothing, you would have $180,000. I want you to think about that. At roughly less than 1%, you're not going to make a lot of money. So if you take that $180,000, well, you really can't do that because compounding is still different, right? You would need a compounding interest calculator. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you just put 1% into that, that's not going to be a lot of money.
Sure.
You might make you may make $7,000 or so, right? And for 30 years, though. But if you did the same thing at a 9% interest rate, compounding out, you make over $700,000 in interest. 7,000 versus 700,000.
Oh, I need some 700,000. Yes, I want to get 700,000 in.
It's a big difference.
Big difference. Good deal. So Terry, we're gonna move to the next segment of our show. We call this segment "The Real Stories from Real Clients."
Yep.
And what we do here, Terry, is we tell a story about our clients. Don't use names, but tell a story about our clients or people we've come across that illustrates why they should be aware of whatever it is, whatever services we provide.
Right.
You need Nykeia to go first so you can see how this works?
If you want to, I got tons of stories, bro. I can tell you. I got tons of clients.
So give us a story, Terry. Tell us a story about why that illustrates why somebody should use your services.
So, you know what? It was so crazy because this was years ago. This is probably in 2000, maybe 17, 18, probably 18. And, I talked about working with children years ago, right? So what I ended up doing is I partnered with somebody that got me in a school, okay? And my job was to talk to the parents. So I met with some of the parents. It was something that I really enjoyed doing because, like I told you, I felt like if I could talk to more parents, then we can make some changes. One of the parents that I met with, very clearly in the meeting, she said, "I don't want to talk about life insurance. I'm more so interested in talking about 529 plans, retirement plans, things, or UGMA and UPMA accounts, things that I can use to help grow money for my children because I need to put a game plan in place for them to go to college." So my response really was, let me ask you a question. I love what you're talking about, but here's my question to you. If you die before they go to college, where's the money gonna come from to fund that 529 plan? And I was like, I'll wait. And she looked at me like, wow. She was like, I never thought about it like that. And I said, see, I want you to understand that most of our communities could care less about life insurance, but you must put a game plan in place together because I know you think it's morbid and it's not. You need a game plan in place if you're not here. And so the cool part about it is that she got excited and she put the life insurance in place, the 529 in place, all of that stuff, right? Kevin, I got a call last year. Her son passed away. The same person that was preparing for her child to go to college, her son passed away. She called me. This was the best reward frustrating time of my life. I didn't know how to feel, right? She called me saying, Terry, my son passed away, but I have to tell you something. And I said, what's that? I said, sorry for your loss. I was out of town traveling on business. And she said to me, but I just want to thank you. I said, thank me? She said, yes, because if it wasn't for you, I would not have understood the value of life insurance. And she said, and as a result, we didn't have to struggle. We didn't have to worry about how to bury him. We already knew we were going to grieve emotionally, but at least we did not have to grieve financially. Mm-hmm. And that made me feel good. That made me feel good knowing that I changed somebody's life for the better. Even though we can't control what happens, we can control how we're prepared for what happens. And so that's what I was excited about in that example.
Great example. We're going to die. That's a fact, right? That's the only guarantee we can have in life. Right?
Yep.
So being prepared. Good story.
Thank you.
Nykeia Neal, you're up.
All right. So I'm going to take a story back to budgeting. I had a good friend of mine refer someone to me. And this woman made, what we consider definitely good money. She was at maybe about $190,000 a year in income. But when she came to me, she said, I make this money. I don't know where it is. I'm ready to get my financial life in order. And she said, I'm coming to you right now and I owe family members, a couple $1,000s. And I make all of this, I need help. So we sat down and the first thing that I started with was her budget. Like, well, where's all your money going? And when we went through that budget, she had 3 gym memberships. I was like, well, how often do you go to the gym? She was like, I don't go to the gym. I was like, sis, right? So once we went through everything, we seen where we could make some cuts, but necessary cuts. Like sometimes we think about budget as punishment. And that's not it. So, she was spending a certain amount of money for cleaners. And I said, well, if you hang your clothes up when you come home, like that, because I have those kind of real life conversations with my clients. I don't sit from some type of pedestal. So we went through everything. So she was able to find an additional about like $400 to $500 a month just from going through everything, getting rid of subscriptions. She's like we say now we joke because my good clients become like my homie. So she's somebody that we still stay in contact with. She said, I'm a former Amazon addict, right? So it was like so many things coming from Amazon. A lot of us can do that so easy. Just find what you want to hit it, right? Anyway, all that to say, Kevin, just from working with her for that year, we got her budget in order. Then we moved through everything else. We, got her life insurance down where she needed, saved her money there, rolled over some investments for her. And at the end of the year, she sent me a New Year's Eve text. And she said, my new year is going to be better because I sat down with you. She had $20,000 saved by the end of the year, obviously just doing better and even better now. Her credit score went up. She sent me like little text messages like, when my credit hit 700, I'm about to be acting like Beyonce at work. So just little funny, stuff. But it started just figuring out where your money is, just simply starting with the budget and then going from there to figure out what are you spending your money on? That's what we all need to know. Where's my money going?
Yep.
Right. So that's how I help that client.
Good stuff. And by the way, let me say to the clients who may be listening and hear their story, we do not do this to shame anybody. We have this segment because a lot of times we tell people what to do. So you guys tell people to do budgets. I tell people to do credit, to fix their credit. But when we talk about the why, when we talk about stories of these clients who have gone through our processes and benefited from them, it helps other people attach their lives and understand better why we do this. And so, again, I want to send out for anybody who may come across this podcast and hear their story. No, we're not putting you out there. We don't say any names, and we're not putting you out there because we're trying to shame you. We're trying to help someone else benefit from your story. And so my story last week was a positive one where somebody, because they had great credit, was able to do things that other people aren't able to do. Today, I'm going to give you some this is a really unfortunate story. So I have a client who lived his life. He is a 71-year-old man. He's got diabetes. He's a double amputee. And he is living in a home that is owned by his aunt, who is still living, but she is under nursing care. So it's unfortunate, but she owns the house. She owns the property. In her will, she is leaving him the property. However, she has a power of attorney. She's chosen a power of attorney who has power over her estate. And in that part of that estate is this property. So he won't get access to this property until she passes on, unfortunately. This man has lived most of his life using cash, right? The only 3 credit accounts he's ever had in his life were a loan from his credit union maybe 20 years ago, another loan, and I'm sorry, he got a car loan that, so he defaulted on the loan from his credit union. He had a car loan about 10 years ago that he got repossessed, and he got one other line of credit in 2021 that he missed 2 payments on. So the only 3 accounts he's ever had, he's defaulted on all 3 of them. The person that has power of attorney over this property is trying to sell the property because they want the money to go to this lady's estate, so that instead of him getting, let's say the property's worth $100,000, instead of him getting $100,000 worth of property, if they put into the estate, he has a brother and a sister who also get part of the estate. And that means they can get that $100,000 if they sell the property. They split that $100,000 3 ways. So instead of getting $100,000 worth of value, he's going to get 33, right? So because they are doing that, the person that has power of attorney said he has first right of refusal. If he can go secure a mortgage to purchase this property, it's $95,000 actually. If he can secure a mortgage to purchase this property, then he can buy the property, keep it. Unfortunately, the only credit he's ever had in life, he's defaulted in. So this 71-year-old double amputee who no one is looking out for, he's not married, no one is looking out for him, is unfortunately facing potentially being in the streets. But I don't think it's as dramatic as that. We're going to find a place for him, but the deal is he's not going to be able to stay in this property. And I feel so bad for him. But when you see, I look at his story, and I have lived this story with him over the last 7 months. When I see people on the street asking for money, I'm saying this could very well be this individual. In 30 days, and I'm like I said, I'm probably over dramatizing for effect, but there is a reality behind what I'm saying. In 30 days, he could be one of these people because no one taught him about credit. No one taught him the importance of establishing credit and maintaining it, because you don't know in your life when you're going to need it, right? So fix your credit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough, disheartening story. So in the Biz Breaks Podcast, sometimes we have to talk about things that are sad to us. Let me take another commercial break, brought to you by our sponsors at Premisien Credit Counseling. Premisien Credit Counseling, we are all things business credit. Again, if you want to get credit that is not attached to your social security number, call us at Premisien Credit Counseling. That's 215-904-8690, or reach us on the web at www.premisien.com. Do we still use the www? Nice.
I don't think you need the www.
For Premisien.com. That's where we are.
There you go.
All right, Terry. So now we're going to do the fast fire round.
Okay.
We're going to ask you 4 questions.
Okay.
We're all going to answer these 4 questions. We're
Okay.
going to ask you 4 questions. We didn't tell you the questions ahead of time, right? For our audience out there, tell them, look in the camera, tell them we didn't send these questions.
I don't know these. I don't know. I'm ready.
Question number 1, and detailed, but as succinct as possible. Right? Question number 1: book that has helped you, that has had a great impact on your entrepreneurial journey?
Think and Grow Rich.
Ooh, which one? Dennis Kimbro or?
That's what I was going to say.
Dennis Kimbro. Yeah.
Talk to them about the difference between. He's not the original author.
No, he's not. To me, Dennis Kimbro's version is more so of a Black or an African American depiction of, that book. So I really believe there it is. There it is. A Black choice, right? And it really focuses to me on how we see that book, and how we, in the lessons associated to where we come from in our background. So Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice to me is definitely a key.
Nykeia Neal. Good one.
I'm gonna go with a classic answer here because it's real. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I have to say it because I wouldn't be where I am. Well, maybe, I don't know. This is one of those things that was a changing moment for me. Just reading that book was like, wow, I never knew all this stuff was out there. So that was definitely a book that, was that saying that opened my third eye. Definitely did that. And so many principles now that you still can use that apply. So that's my choice. Good
choice. Great book. Mine is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harvey Eker.
Yep.
Just a great look at Nykeia Neal. Boy, your library was
listen, let's go.
Great book because millionaires think and talk different. I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. Money talk is different with millionaires, and money talk is different with billionaires. And what one of the most poignant things I learned in that book was billionaires can't have conversations with millionaires, and millionaires can't have conversations with thousandaires because those conversations just are different.
Yeah.
Just different, right? Just different. So Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harvey Eker.
Yep.
It's good. Good one.
All right, Terry, one tool or resource that has really helped you or your business, you personally or your business.
You ready? I know this is going to sound really crazy.
There's no such thing.
But a calendar. Listen, let me tell you something. I really believe that calendars are underused. Calendars are major. It creates structure in your life. I tell my team, I tell my agents, I tell anybody that I do business with, I tell my clients, we need to put it in my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it does not exist. It will not happen. I have too many things going on from a business perspective, personal perspective, that if it's the first time somebody say, hey, Terry, I thought we were supposed to meet. Hold on. Go up into my calendar and I need to confirm that it's there, because if it's not there, it's not happening. And I think so many people look at, they think, oh, I will remember it. No, you won't.
Mm-mm.
Too much stuff with kids and with business and with clients, and it's just too much travel. It's just a lot going on. So I know that sounds, I know that's like a tip that you never heard before, right? But a calendar, it's just so simple.
And Terry, it's the simplicity of it that makes it so powerful. And that's why we have that as a question.
Yeah.
Because people out there, they're misusing or not taking advantage. So good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. You're using a digital calendar, right? The one on your phone?
The one on the phone. It goes with me all the time. I don't leave without it. It's just a tool. Now I will say some people still swear by, the big calendars on their table and desk, and I'm not knocking that. But here's my thing. To me, this goes with me everywhere.
They still make
okay?
No, I just have to say something on that because Kevin made a face. I have the big desk calendar, but I use the digital one too. But this one is good when I'm talking to people. I have a calendar right in front of me. I can see what's right in front of me. I put the girls' appointments like it's right in front of me. So it's like, oh, I got to get out of here. I can see it right in front of me. So don't do that.
Nice. I'm not paper shaming you. You want to use the old technology?
You have uses, okay?
I'm not. There's no paper shaming.
That's okay. Erykah Badu has a song where she says, "I'm an analog girl in a digital world." That's probably me. But
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Nykeia Neal, what is your tool
You said a tool or a resource that's helping as an entrepreneur. Really networking events. And I say that because that's actually how I met you. I went to a networking event and I can't think of the guy right name. His name is his face is in my head, but I met him and then he referred me to you. He did an email introduction and said it'd be great. Our businesses are synergistic. We should meet. And then we met, and then, we've had like great successes since then. So networking with people is definitely a tool that you need as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Have you found it difficult to network in this COVID or post-COVID?
Yes. Yeah. Still challenging, but that's okay. Still make it happen. Yeah.
We'll get it done. Okay. All right. QuickBooks for me is one of the best tools I've come across. I screwed it up in the beginning. I did a little video about it. I screwed it up in the beginning, but it has really saved me thousands and thousands of dollars because when it's time for my tax accountant to do my taxes, Terry, I can now send it over because he charges me. The more work he has to do, the more he has to charge me. Mm-hmm. Well worth the value, but QuickBooks makes it easy for me. So go out and get it if you haven't gotten it already. All right. Terry, one challenge that you've had to overcome in your personal or entrepreneurial journey?
Okay. I think for me, it's you have to know your strengths in business. So the best way I can just give you a quick example. So for me, I'm really good working with my clients. I'm really good at people. I'm really good working with people, right? So that's a strength of mine. However, I think we can all agree as business owners, there's other pieces of the business that still need to flow and work in order for your business to work, i.e. bookkeeping, like you kind of just mentioned, right? Or, schedules and, all that type of stuff. So, if you're an artist, so here's the best example I can give you. If you're an artist, you love to paint, right? Mm-hmm. You might not like to schedule places where your paintings are going to be on display. You might not like that. So, but in the beginning, I think, and this is a good entrepreneurial tip, you need to be everything in your business in the beginning. You can't just hire people in the beginning. You got to be everything in your business in the beginning. And I think that in the beginning, I struggled with structure. I struggle with, how do I work with clients, also do some of the things that I don't like to do, right? Bookkeeping and, I don't like that stuff. I like to work with people, right? Right? That's what you got to do. You got to learn how to adjust. You got to learn how to create structure and create balance, all of those things. So I would say for me, structure was an issue. And, books, mentorship, reading, still a work in progress, right? But I think that, you just get better every day.
Good stuff. Nykeia Neal.
Oh, man. Marketing and promotion. So clearly, if you're on my page right now and you're streaming, that you understand why. It is what it is. It's like, when I look at like Facebook, I'm gonna use social media for an example. There's a lot of people on social media that they post, oh, I'm eating right now, and now it's a picture of you eating. Like, that's challenging. Haven't been the posting person. Like, I seriously have to remind myself to post. So that's what I'm working on now, is to get better at marketing and promotion, because you need to do that in your business. Anything that you do, you need to market and promote yourself. And that's challenging for me. So I'm gonna be real with it, because it's a real show, right? Yeah.
Yep. You seem to be doing a great job, and I know the tendency is for us to compare ourselves to other people. We don't know what other people have going on, right? So I'll just leave that there, because I certainly suck at marketing on social media, so I can't give any advice. But one of the other places I struggle with is managing people. I suck at that too, believe it or not. I can lead, but managing is different, and so I have struggled with that and continue to struggle with that. Getting people to do what I need them to do. Getting people to buy into the vision, not an issue. Getting people to do what I need them to do to activate the vision is my struggle. Big struggle. All right, Terry, this is the last question for you.
Yes, sir.
one thing you wish you'd learned earlier in life that would have helped you.
Wow. Which one? Which one? I mean,
pick one, and that one. Which one? Pick one. I got a 6-star.
Oh man. So honestly, you know what's so crazy? That I think that Terry, like when I first got into finance, would have said, I wish I would have learned discipline with money. You know, but part of my success is because I didn't learn discipline with money.
Sure.
And I had to evolve and learn discipline with money. And that helps me teach people better because I've been where they've been. So, you know, I would say, so I can't really use that one. But I think that was a key. Like, I wish I would have been better with money early, you know, when I was younger. But I didn't learn it. So I think learning how to become disciplined with money is something that actually helps me in business, because I'm not that guy that's just gonna be like, oh, what's wrong with you? You only got $100 in your bank account. What's wrong with you? No, I'm gonna be like, I've been where you've been. Okay, right. I get it. But do you want me to help you get out of this position? Okay, these are the steps that I need you to take. Okay, and so I think that's been a gift and a curse.
Good stuff. Nice.
I would say, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, but basically, I wish that I had knew there were other options besides going to college. I went to college because you're supposed to go to college. I was one of the first people in my family to go to college. But when I went to college, I really wasn't ready for college. Like, I would have been better off going to community school first, having a job and figuring things out that way, and not having a student loan debt that is that. Because even going to college, it was just, hey, you can go to college. This is financial aid. I didn't really understand what financial aid was. It was, Mom, let me get your taxes. Let me do this. Oh, there's a refund. I got a $2,000 refund. Instead of giving the money back, it was, I don't even know what I bought. But I wish I had had that lesson, not to go straight to school first without knowing what I really wanted to do. Because even now I have a degree in human services that I work in finance, and I needed to get no degrees, just, you know, licenses. Right. And mentorship. So that's my answer.
Good. I wish I'd understood passive income and the power of passive income.
Yeah.
Working for $1 or having $1 work for you. If I understood the difference between that early in life, I'd be so much further along.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
These are all good stuff. Great conversation. So I want to take a time out to acknowledge our platform, the Cosmos Radio Network USA and the Cosmos Radio Network. Again, we're streaming live in this country and several other countries, including London, England. Thank you to Sean out in the UK. Sean Tonks, he's probably watching. If he's not watching, he's one of the partners. Thank you for Showtime, or thank you to Showtime, the hype man. You can catch him here on the Cosmos Radio Network USA. He's here every day. We really appreciate them giving us the opportunity to have the Biz Breaks Podcast broadcast on the Cosmos Radio Network USA. And as we said earlier, you can catch us every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us on all our social media platforms, where we'll be having real talk with real entrepreneurs like Terry Robertson. And thank you, Terry, for giving us your wisdom, insight into your world, telling us who you are as a person. Truly appreciate. We're definitely going to have you back on the show. Definitely going to have you back on the show. And nice. Thank you for being an awesome co-host, being an awesome friend that you are. Want to give us a shout out on next Wednesday, which is, what's next Wednesday's date?
Oh, see the desk calendar right here.
Pull out your paper calendar.
26, I believe.
26. Calendar.
Next Wednesday, the 26th at 6:30 p.m. We are doing a live in-person money talks. It's called Money Moves 2022. Nykeia and I will be giving some insight into finance, some insight into credit, and it's a series. The first seminar will be next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. 110 Martyr Avenue, Suite 411,
Morristown, New Jersey,
USA. Right. So you can see on our social media platforms, we'll be promoting that. Come on out. We're observing COVID. Like I said, we're observing COVID restrictions. So we will be face masks. We will be social distancing, and we will only allow 5 people in the venue live, but we will also be streaming it live on our social media platforms. So stay tuned for that. Anybody who wants to register can go to moneymoves22.eventbrite.com. Again, that's moneymoves2022. That's 2022. .eventbrite.com. The 5 people who are going to be live can register there. Anybody else that wants to join us can do so on our social media platforms. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks for a wonderful show, the Biz Breaks Podcast on the Cosmos Radio Network. That's Terry Robertson, that's Nykeia Neal, and I am Kevin the Credit Crusher. We will see you guys next Thursday.